Hello everyone. This will be a review for Resident Evil Village Shadows of Rose DLC that just dropped at the end of the month of October. It coincided with Halloween date. I'm sure that was a decision by the devs. What is this DLC basically? It doesn't only. I'm only reviewing the portion of the because this is a package, right? You can get this DLC, which includes the story, around 4 or 5 hours. If you are not like taking your time and so on and so forth. However, it also comes with a new mode for the mercenaries. I think that's like leaderboard stuff, like survival, where you have a timer. I'm not too sure. I never played it, or I have intention to play it. It's not something that I'm interested in. You also have, which is I think a big plus, which I like, which is a third person perspective for both the main story and this new DLC. What does this mean? You can play through the entirety of the Resident Evil Village main campaign, and you can play as third person instead of just first person. I think this brings out a lot more of the environments and the levels, and it's much more immersive. At least to me, I always prefer the third person view, since I liked Resident Evil 2 remake a lot because of that. I just don't think first person works as good as third person, but at that option, which is great. Now, in terms of the DLC in itself, I'll go over a few sections and give it a rating in the end. In terms of NPCs, side stories, I don't think this section applies as much here. In terms of NPCs, or I should say characters in the DLC, you'll be playing as Rose, of course, daughter of Ethan Winters, and you'll be seeing some familiar faces from the main game. You'll also be seeing some new faces. I think it's a good overall cast that they got here. It just brings in more backstory, more background to the characters that you already knew from the main game. It also gives a new side to these characters. You'll understand that when you play the DLC, of course. I won't reveal too much. I'll try to for it to stay um, as spoiler free as I can. But you'll meet familiar characters from the main game, and you'll see a new side of them. I think this is a really good section for the DLC, and they delivered it. It's just the same quality as the main game. In terms of the main story, the main plot, and the main villain of this DLC, the main villain is someone that we are familiar to. I won't say who he is or who she is, but it's someone we are familiar with. I didn't like this villain as much, because I think they could have done something new with the villain. I think it overuses a lot of what the main game already had, but then again, it's a continuation. But they could have pursued other avenues. It's still a good payoff in terms of the villain, but my general opinion, they could have gone another route. In terms of the main plot, however, main plot um, revolves around Rose and her understanding her new powers, what she faces, and now that it has been like, I don't know, 15, 14 years since what happened in Resident Evil Village. And of course, she's shunned by her peers due to the powers that she has. Um, so basically, this game is it's just a chunk of story where she's trying to deal with the fact that she has powers and the repercussions of having powers. And does she want to have them? Does she don't not want to have them? I think the story is well done. I think it could have been done in a different way. If I go too much into detail, it will spoil a bit what is the main grab of the story. But I felt like they could have gone another route with Rose and shown more in another way that they shown. But it's still a good payoff to the Inter Saga, and it ends it. I think with that ending, it clearly feels like an ending to the Ethan Winters Resident Evil part. Um, let's see what Capcom has in store for future Resident Evils, but this I think is a pretty good close. In terms of graphics expect the same as Resident Evil Village. Amazing in my opinion. So you have nothing to worry about here. Um, if you play Resident Evil Village, if you play Resident Evil 7 remakes, it's on par with those. Sound effects and music. Again, I don't think there's much to say here. It reuses the same sound effects as the main campaign. Same thing for tracks. I don't think there is any new tracks. However, there are some new sound effects as part of Rose's new powers. Of course, those will have new sound effects. Guns sound as meaty as ever. I think the new sound effects for the powers are also pretty good. Leveling, itemization. It's what you expect from Resident Evil. Same inventory, same type of items. There's not anything new in terms of itemization, in terms of what you'll get. It's the famous red herbs, of course, the first med kits, the gunpowder. You know it, we know it, we played it. Not much to say. It's the same. Good because I like what Resident Evil has to offer in this section. World and level design. Now this is one of the, I guess, most disappointing areas. Why is that? I thought they, I mean, I thought they could use a new area, but basically, and it's not a spoiler. I mean, you should know because you'll be buying this. Basically, the game reuses all the same locations that there were in Resident Evil Village. So, if you are expecting new locations, new levels, new maps, you won't get it here. You'll be playing on the same map that you play with Ethan in the main campaign. Of course, you'll be seeing new things, but it's just the same rooms, same areas. No, doesn't reuse all of them, but all of the maps and levels that you'll be in is reused from Resident Evil Village main campaign, which is a bummer, and it tones down a bit the score for the DLC. I thought they could do much better, but it's just reuse the assets and reuse maps here. In terms of bugs and performance, nothing to say here. Runs like a charm. No problems in my end. No crashes. No frame drops at all. Runs well. Now, one of the biggest sections here, which is how many hours per dollar paid. Now, this is relative, right? If you want to play just the story DLC, I would say you are paying way too much for the hours you are getting on your value. Why? You can't buy the story DLC separately, so you'll have to buy the Winter's Gold expansion, I think it's called, for $19.99. And if you can't buy it separately, you are looking at 3 hours. And I played on hardcore, which is hardest difficulty. You are looking at 3 hours for $20, basically. Now, if you are someone that takes a long time to beat the game, you want to check everything, map has to offer, every little detail. I'm also like that, and it just took me only 3 hours. All maps cleared out, all items. I got all items, seen everything, did everything. Even less than 3 hours. I think my time at the end was 2 hours 49 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. So this will depend on what you want to spend. Do you think it could be worth to spend $20 for less than 3 hours of gameplay? I don't know. If you are just interested in the story, for me it was, because and I'll explain it now, which is the new third-person perspective that they added. That changes a lot the game, and it makes basically for me worth another playthrough on the main campaign. I want to see what the game is like with the third-person perspective, the main campaign. So I think the value is there if you are interested in this third-person mode for the main campaign. If you aren't interested, I would say the hours paid here, the hours you get in terms of content for the amount of money you pay is pretty subpar. Now, just want to speak a bit on the difficulty, enemy variety, and the AI. I think this part here is subjective, right? Difficulty. I played on hardcore. The game, I would say there is like 50% of combat, where you can use your powers, the guns you are used to. But at the same time, there's like 50% of chase sequences running from enemies with you having nothing but your powers. So I would say that this section is a bit subpar as well. It was too easy. The running sequences and chase sequences were annoying, to say the least. They were annoying. I don't like stealthing around. I like a survival horror to offer me guns, weapons, means to survive, right? And not just stealth around and try to run away from enemies. So in terms of difficulty, I would give it a low score here. In terms of enemy variety and AI, apart from one boss, two bosses actually, you'll be facing the same enemies over and over. There's no variety here. It's the same enemies over and over. It's an enemy that was reused from the main game, so I would say this is also pretty subpar section here for the game. This brings us to one last section, which is replayability. Now I've added this section from our previous review. Why? Every game that I buy, that I play, I rate it with replayability. If it doesn't have any replay value for me, then the game is not worth much. For me, I think this DLC has replay value once you forget about the story and you can play. It should be a blast. So I think the replay value is there. The new third person, first person, you can play around with it, and it will give you more replay value if you like that. But overall, I think the game has a good replay value. You can tinker and experiment with other things that you didn't on the first playthrough. So that's another plus. Now, this will bring us to the score. In terms of score, I don't rate games in 0-10 scale. I say it in the best way I can to inform you if this game is good enough to buy or not. And the scale is, and I will explain it. You can get a buy, of course. You can buy it on a Steam sale discount or I don't know, a key reseller discount, like Greenman Gaming, those sorts of websites, or if you play it on the PS5 or Xbox, a discount on those stores, of course. And this would be a discount like 30%, 20%. Then you can also have buy on a deep discount like 80%, 70%, so on and so forth. And then lastly, an avoid until new patches come out, until devs rethink their strategy. And the lowest rating of all, don't even think about this game when you are purchasing something new for your library. I think this DLC is worth a buy on a deep sale. If you aren't interested on the third person perspective for the main campaign and that mercenaries add-on that they added. If you are interested on the third person perspective, I think it has a lot of value, so you should buy it now. I think it was a pretty fun DLC with some annoying parts in terms of the chase sequences and running around, but it also had its moments. Particularly some of the boss fights were pretty cool. I think one of the boss fights is the best out of every boss fight even in the main campaign, so it's worth for that alone to experience that boss fight, especially on hardcore. It was pretty fun. And it concludes the story of Hidden Withers. If you are interested in knowing where it leads from Resident Evil Village, what happens afterwards, and the conclusion of this story, I think you should give it a buy as well, just for that alone. So Guys, thank you. If you have any feedback, if you have any comments about the format, about anything, quality of the video, let me know. I'll try to improve. This is a new channel, so still getting started. Plenty to improve. Camera will be a new addition going forward, so look forward to that. And see you on the next one. Bye.